all good. See if this works. Perfect. Is there a signal, or do I just go? Happy to crack on? Can everyone hear me? Perfect. Let's get the show on the road. Hello, everyone. So welcome. So I'm Chris from MoEngage. So I look after a lot of our strategic clients, and I do a lot of the strategic growth. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the art of customer engagement, personalization, data analytics, and then a little bit later on, I'm going to bring on a guest speaker, a lady called Rowan from a company called Sweatcoin. For those that don't know Sweatcoin, they had 52 million downloads in one single year and ended up being the most downloaded app. See what I did there? Retention. You'll see her in a moment. So why is customer engagement important? And I was looking at some study yesterday. Anyone here told their kids, their partner, their friend that they've got a memory like a goldfish? Nods? A couple of nods? That's actually a compliment, because goldfish have a attention span of 9 seconds. The human is 8 seconds. So you're actually telling them they're more smart than a human. The reason why this is so important is because you've only got 8 seconds to make an impression to your customers, whether that's on email, whether that's on push notifications, whether that's on the website. A lot of people are now seeing the website bounce rates somewhere between 30 and 40%. And that's because you're making it really, really complex. And that's what customers are saying as well. 71% of customers are now expecting a personalized experience, no matter the channel, no matter the time, no matter how or where or why you're doing it. Am I allowed to swear? If not, customers are getting a bit cheesed off with it. So if you're not doing your personalization at scale, at the right time, on the right channel, with the right content, they're going to be pretty annoyed. And that's why you get a lot of low engagement rates on your open rates, 3, 4, 5%, single figures. That's why your bounce rates are probably somewhere between 30 and 40%. They're getting annoyed that they can't get to the point that they need to. And the customers that are doing it well are doing it at 40% growth more than the next business over their personalization. And I'm going to take you through that for a couple of stories, and we'll talk a little bit about Sweatcoin later on, but I'll talk a little bit about Travelodge and a few others that we're working with. So for those that are not familiar with MoEngage, we're an insights-led customer engagement platform. What does that mean? So at a core, we can get all of your different data from all your repositories into a single customer view. So offline data, online data, iWatch data, TV data. We're getting so much data from our customers and our consumers. Is how do we get that into a single customer view? So once we've got it into a single customer view, we can then go and do a lot of analysis, and that's where the insights-led comes from. So we can do find me my customers who have a high propensity to churn. Find me who have an affinity to eat food at 9 AM on a Thursday. Find me customers who are my champion. Find me customers that are a potential churn risk. So from there, you've got all your RFM and AI segments. You've got your AI assistant, so tell me if my conversion rate is dropped week over week. Has my churn rate increased or decreased this week compared to previous weeks? Then we've got a whole lot, so we've got funnel metrics, which are probably a lot of you here are using things like GA4 or Google Analytics, so you will be familiar with that. But with one click from the analytics and the insights, you can then go and drive it straight into the engagement. Now we move on to the engagement, right? So now you really understand your consumer behavior, you really understand what they want to hear from you. It's now all about the content. So we have a lot of AI content where we can generate content for you. So we analyze your subject lines, we analyze your content, and we can produce content better enhancing what's written by a human. And that's across all channels, whether that's app push, in-apps, TVs, email, SMS push, offline data, as well as web and app personalization without having to use code. So we can dynamically change the website, which we'll talk a little bit about Panasonic, and I'll talk a little bit about Travelodge later on, who use web personalization to enhance their revenue conversions. And then at the end, from the personalization, so we've got the inbound channels and the outbound channels, we can then send this over to any of your existing partners, a lot of them here today. We have over 2,000 pre-built integrations where we can put this back into your data warehouse, your data lake, or any other partners. if you've had an engagement from Pizza Hut, from Top Cashback, from Sweatcoin, from SoundCloud, Samsung, Panasonic, that's being powered and fueled by MoEngage. They're using our analytics, our insight, as well as our engagement channel as well. So hopefully there's some recognizable brands that you're using there today. I'm going to take this one level further. I'm going to go into Travelodge, where we're going to talk about 2 use cases of their dynamic pricing, segmentation, and personalization. And then we'll do a bit of a fireside chat where I've got some questions for Rowan. So Travelodge, they're the #1 most budget hotel. They have over 22 million guest users, known and unknown, that walk through their door every single year. And then we're talking a little bit about Sweatcoin, talking about how they had 52 million downloads in a single year. I believe it was 10 million in 7 days. Honestly, the Sweatcoin is a phenomenal story, one of the most inspirational apps. So do definitely stick around. In about 5 minutes, we'll get into the Q&A. Just briefly touched upon, so Travelodge, for those that aren't familiar with Travelodge, they were founded about 30 years ago, I believe it was 1985, 600 hotels on pretty much every single corner and street and city around the UK. They have now been working with MoEngage for a little over 5 years, one of our first UK clients over here, and now seeing phenomenal growth. And I'll show you some incredible stats about their ROI, the figures that they're generating. So, when we talk about personalization and we talk about consumers, I say to people, it's great. A lot of people look at people as a single customer view. It's kind of right, kind of wrong. Because we all have different personalities, especially with Travelodge, right? I could be a business user as well as a turn to going with my wife, my friends, a stag do, a hen party. I might use Travelodge on total different types of personalities that I have, but I'm still one single user. So there's macro and micro parts to a single customer view. And that's why we need to make sure that we engage with those people. So if we talk about the pre-arrival, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of nervousness that are going around. You've probably got kids running around with excitement, ready to jump on the bed. You're probably a bit anxious because you don't know what you're doing tomorrow. You need to look at attractions and things like that going forward. So if we look at the check-in arrival, so we've got things like a great opportunity to do a lot of upselling. Whilst they're a budget hotel, there might be things that dynamic to that specific hotel. That could be room upgrades, a room's available for that specific hotel, so we might want to upgrade it. There might be an Oasis dropped a random gig in London and they've gone through the roof, so the prices will then have to go up, right? So it's going to be dynamic at real time based on the events. They've also got weather data included into their CRM strategy. So if they want to do like recommendations of tours or recommendations of events that are going on based on the weather, so if it's sunny, go outside. If it's rainy, you might want to go to Madame Tussauds, you might want to go do London Eye or go to do a museum, right? So they're really about enhancing their experience pre-arrival as well as on the arrival. And I'll touch upon the arrival in a moment. You've got things that upsell, so like breakfast, larger rooms, bigger beds, all of those different things that you've got there. Parking information, so some of the hotels don't have on-site parking, so they might need to park around the local area. Where's your local parking space? And I'll show you how they've integrated Google Maps into it, so it shows you how far the walking distance is from there. And then the nearest station. Everyone needs to know how easy it is to get onto a tube, onto a train, to go and see all of these attractions. So you see here, over here on the right-hand side, the different sort of marketing personalization for that individual user, whether they're a leisure user or whether they're a business user. They're going to have different aspirations or different recommendations that they need to have. And as I mentioned, that could be down to the individual. 1 week I could be a leisure user, the next week I might need to be a business user. And that's from data that we've collected from the external events, so it could be things from the hotel and from their partners and from the attractions. So attractions might have a little bit of a downfall in, I don't know, let's talk about Madame Tussauds. They can pull in data from that to try and get them to encourage footfall through there. As well as then their own customer data, what they're doing. Do they have kids? Is there a food preference? Are they a vegetarian? Do they typically go to nice fancy restaurants? Is their lifetime value higher, so we might want a recommendation of higher restaurants? As I mentioned, they've now integrated the Google Maps ID into all of their marketing communication, so when you get an email from them, it will tell you how far is the local station to that hotel specifically that you're staying at. Remember, there's 600 hotels of these. They're doing this all at scale. Also recommendations of events that are going on, so you can see, this is within 1 mile radius, this is a 5 mile radius, so it's giving you all the recommendations throughout that. Now we're going to go into the arrival. So the 22 million people have all arrived, not at the same time, but over the course of the year. So now we've got all of the attractions, the restaurants, the itineraries, and also the personal offers that they might have for them. Like I mentioned, it might be dietary, it might be they might have kids who want a recommendation of kid-friendly attractions in the area. There might be a business user where they just want to go something quick to eat and get to bed as quickly as possible. And as I mentioned, we're going to show some incredible results that we've been doing with them for over 5 years. 72% increase on their open rates on pre-arrival emails, 67% increase on their click-through rates from that, and as you see at the last end, nearly 350% year-on-year bookings of their revenues that they're seeing because of the engagement they're doing across web personalization, across in-apps, across email, across push. Any of those notifications that you get from Travelodge is being fueled by us. Without further ado, I'll bring on Rowan. Rowan, are you working? Is your microphone working?
I don't know. Yeah, is it? Yeah, sounds like it is.
Rowan, do you just want to, just before we kick it off, for those that aren't familiar, and a few people already said they've got the Sweatcoin app on their phone, but can you just introduce who Sweatcoin are?
Sure. So Sweatcoin is a free gamified pedometer app. So we count your steps every day, and then we turn that into a digital currency called a Sweatcoin, which you can spend on our marketplace, which has lots of offers and sample products from affiliate brands that we work with and partners. So we have been around since 2016, and over that time have amassed, I think now in the region of 150 million downloads, which is phenomenal. But yeah, that our specific big year of growth was 2022. Went from 42 million users at the beginning of the year to 112 million at the end of the year.
Insane.
Yes.
Insane growth. So I've got a couple of questions, and then we will pass it over to the audience and let you guys ask some questions. So Sweatcoin have experienced some impressive growth, what you were just talking about there. Can you share some examples of how you use insights and analytics that's contributed to your growth?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I take myself back to January 2022, and we wanted to go on this big global expansion, and we wanted to globally expand very, very quickly. We had our crypto offering launching at the end of the year, and we wanted to be live in as many markets as possible by the end of the year. So when you're looking to grow at speed, really what you want to do is be led by data in terms of what channels are really performing for you at the moment. And in Sweatcoin's case, our most cost-effective and best-performing channel was our user-to-user referral channel. So we really tried to focus on that and I'm a growth product manager by trade, now a group product manager, but myself and the growth marketing lead, Arena, spent a lot of time together looking at that effectively growth loop. So how we're getting new user 1 that's downloaded the app to invite their friend, new user 2. And if we look at that loop, all the different stages in that loop, how would improving conversions here or improving conversions there get kind of that loop more effective? And short of any type of kind of optimizations on landing pages or invites or anything like that, actually just increasing the velocity of the loop, so decreasing the time it takes for new user 1 to get to new user 2 was the most effective thing we could do. And so we set about designing features in the product that would motivate invites very, very quickly, because we knew if we could get the velocity going really, really fast, then actually what happens is growth compounds and starts going viral. So that's what we looked to achieve. So we did a lot of time-based incentivized referral features, and when we released one of them in Brazil, we did see 10 million new users within 7 days. So there were some really amazing things that we did with that kind of very data-led approach to thinking about growth.
Awesome. The next one, we're on the personalization stage.
Yes.
Talk about targeted marketing, segmentation data. Can you provide some specific examples that Sweatcoin have done that are based on the user experience, brands that they work with, or any sort of like messaging or communication that you've done?
Yeah, absolutely. So for a little bit of context, we didn't really do segmentation at all before sort of 2022. We were quite generalized in our messaging approach. We found that the very simple, it pays to walk message really resonated with most people that we were advertising to. But obviously when you onboard a whole host of new users, you do need to personalize because 112 million people are not the same, actually. And so we really did set about personalization and thinking about it more strategically. I'd say probably more in 2023. But some of the things that we've done recently that have been really successful for us are obviously marketplace data, so knowing what someone has looked at on the marketplace, purchased before, that can really help us, increase redemptions on new offers. But outside of that as well, kind of modeling users based on who we think they're likely to become of a marketplace user, right? So do we think this person is showing some of the predictive behaviors that are users that really like, sports and nutrition offers really like? And if so, how can we tailor their experience to that? So that's one example. And then the other example I would say is some of our more engagement features, so the challenges, the races, the sort of gamified features. We have done some great stuff in terms of retargeting people to bring them back into the app to talk about progress and new opportunities they might not have had before.
Cool, thank you. You spoke about growth, 50 million downloads, I think 145, 150 million downloads. Can you talk a little bit more about, now you've had that hockey stick growth and you've got a lot of downloads, what's your tactics, plans, features that you're using to keep them retained?
Yeah, definitely. It's really hard. I think when you grow at scale and very quickly, I'll be candid in saying you do onboard a lot more lower intent users. And what might have been working for the people who were your early adopters doesn't necessarily work for everyone. So we spent a lot of time as a product team looking at the core habit loop of the product. So irrespective of push and email and all the channels, they're really the things that bring your user back into the app to your product, but the product itself has to be kind of heavily sticky in the first place. So we looked at the daily habit loop. We really focused on getting everyone to set a step goal and then to create an experience around them reaching that step goal every day. And now in the app, you'll see your daily scratch or daily lottery card. So once you hit your daily step goal at the end of the day, you can then go and purchase a ticket for the lottery where we can offer a really actually quite high value rewards because it's on a lottery system. And that means that every single day, someone is getting an instant reward. They're really seeing the it pays to walk in real life, every single day. And that's massively helped retention. And I think on top of that, once you have that core habit loop, that's when you can do some amazing stuff with your re-engagement and your push and having a sensible testing strategy around how to bring people back. But yeah, we've definitely focused a lot on the product and making that daily habit really, really strong.
Yeah, it's a pleasure working with you guys on that because your diversity of your audience, from your dog walkers to your marathon runners,
yes,
to your mum and pram that are walking around, it's hard to do it at that velocity to that magnitude of amount of downloads you've got. So credit to you guys. Moving forward then, can you guys just give them a little bit of a snippet of what's happening with Sweatcoin, any future developments, stuff that you can do it? Everyone here signed an NDA, so we're verbally.
Yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit more?
No, we're pretty transparent actually. So we are really focusing on a few more of those healthy habit features. So we've definitely, I think, we've done the rewards-based features really well. The marketplace is fantastic. The daily lottery is really working for us. But actually, there's, Sweatcoin is about health and fitness with rewards, right? And so we're focusing a lot on the health and fitness aspect of the product at the moment and how we can deepen that experience for people with slightly different needs and requirements. So we have a very one-size-fits-all approach at the moment, which is a daily step goal, but actually what if there are specific weight loss goals? What if there are specific training programs, etc.? So that's kind of what we're looking at a little bit over the coming months.
Lastly, for those in the audience that are probably going to be looking at a lot of technologies today, like you've done a really thorough evaluation. 2.5 years ago, I looked at our emails this morning when it started. Can you give them a little bit of advice of what they should be looking or questions they should be asking to any vendor that they're speaking to today?
Yes, I mean, I think the first thing is to really understand your use case and use cases, and that is something that I think is when you go through an RFP process and you're thinking about it from your side. I personally didn't think about it deeply enough initially, and I was surprised at how much more thinking you can do to it, even to the point I would recommend of thinking about it, and I'm a product person, so I would say this, like a user story. So as a CRM manager, I want to action so that I can achieve outcome, and be as detailed and thorough with that as possible, and use those use cases and user stories to help you pick the right technology, because ultimately, like, there is no use you having the bells and whistles of loads of different features if it doesn't actually achieve those things that you need it to achieve. So yeah, I would highly recommend taking that approach.
Thank you. Well, we're bang on time. I've got someone waving at me at the back, so I think my time's done. But if you do have any questions, you don't have to go far. We are there next to the smoothie machine, where I'm sure you'll be able to stick around for a little bit and answer any questions that you've got. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you.